Everything you have been told about liver detox is a dangerous half-truth. Your liver usually does not need a detox product. One of the best supported morning habits is plain unsweetened coffee. That heavy afternoon fatigue is not normal. That dull fullness under your right ribs is not just age. The fog after lunch. The drag in your limbs. The sense that your engine loses torque by 3 o'clock. Those can be early signs that your liver is under metabolic pressure. Before you buy another cleanse, there is one cheap morning habit researchers keep noticing in people whose livers age far more slowly. Not a powder. Not a juice fast. Not a bottle with a forest on the label. Carlo Lavecchia, professor of medical statistics and epidemiology at the University of Milan, is one of the data-driven authorities tied to large analyses of real liver outcomes, not supplement marketing. His work keeps pointing to the same quiet pattern. People who drink coffee regularly often show lower risk across serious liver outcomes, including fibrosis progression and liver cancer. Liver disease causes about 2 million deaths worldwide each year. Read that number again. About 2 million. The danger is not only its scale. It is its silence. This organ can be taking damage for years while your routine life looks ordinary. You still go to work. You still eat dinner. You still tell yourself the heaviness is stress. But if the liver does not need cleansing, then what is actually choking it every day, and why can that damage stay quiet for years? It is not just fatty liver. It is hepatic insulin resistance progressing to steatotic liver disease and fibrogenesis. In plain language, your metabolic filter is getting jammed. Then it starts to harden. Think of the liver as a processing unit with thousands of tiny channels handling fuel, toxins, hormones, and waste. Under normal conditions, it is efficient, clean, load-bearing. Then excess sugar, excess calories, and alcohol begin pouring sticky residue into the system. Insulin, the gatekeeper key, stops working cleanly. The locks stop responding. Glucose backs up. Fat starts being manufactured and stored inside liver cells like sludge accumulating in a filter cartridge. That would be bad enough. But the next phase is darker. The swollen liver cell becomes unstable. Mitochondria, your cellular power plants, begin throwing sparks. Those sparks are free radicals. Tiny fragments of chemical shrapnel. They strike membranes. They scar proteins. They oxidize fats. Inflammatory signals rise like a smoldering fire inside the filter housing. Stellate cells wake up. Normally they stay quiet, like repair crews on standby. Under chronic injury, they switch roles. They become concrete workers. They start laying down collagen. Fiber by fiber. Layer by layer. The soft filter stiffens. The mesh thickens. The flexible tissue begins to feel more like wet drywall drying into plaster. It does not heal cleanly. It calcifies in spirit. It loses elasticity. It loses throughput. This is why so many people feel the same pattern. Heaviness after meals. Brain fog. Waking exhausted. A dull ache or fullness under the right ribs. The whole engine runs hot because the filter is overloaded. And standard medicine often arrives late. A pill may lower one number. A scan may catch damage once it is visible. But if the daily assault stays in place, the machine keeps corroding. If your routine blood work looks acceptable, why do you still crash after lunch and feel foggy by afternoon? Sit with that. For many people, the visible numbers lag behind the damage. The pathology is moving before the alarm sounds. Frank Hu of Harvard has repeatedly framed coffee as a metabolically active beverage, not inert brown water. Carlo Lavecchia's research world keeps seeing the same pattern in large populations. The drink itself is not magic. The mechanism matters. The background diet matters more. And there is a catch: one version of coffee acts like a shield, and another can pour fuel straight back onto the fire. Once you see what is jamming the filter. The strange part is how one ordinary morning drink appears to slow the hardening process. The habit is unsweetened filtered coffee in the morning. That is the reveal. Not a cleanse. Not a fast. Not a liver flush. Plain filtered coffee. The reason it keeps reappearing in hepatology research is not superstition. Coffee contains chlorogenic acids and caffeine, compounds that appear to interact with oxidative stress, inflammatory signaling, and glucose metabolism along the same pathway that pushes a liver from simple overload toward fibrotic hardening. In engineering terms, it behaves less like a dramatic rescue and more like a maintenance protocol. It helps reduce corrosive stress in the filter before soft sludge turns into structural concrete. The evidence here is strongest as association, not a guarantee. That matters. Coffee is not a miracle cure. But across umbrella reviews and meta-analyses, regular coffee intake keeps showing up beside lower rates of liver enzyme elevation, fibrosis, cirrhosis, and liver cancer. That repetition is hard to ignore. It suggests that this ordinary drink is not neutral. It may be one of the few cheap daily habits consistently linked with better liver outcomes in high-risk groups. The protocol is simple. 2 to 3 cups per day is the practical range most often discussed. Some analyses suggest benefit up to about 4 cups, depending on tolerance and clinician guidance. Pause there. Not a cleanse. Not a powder. Not a weekend starvation ritual. Plain filtered coffee. Morning or early day is the best anchor. Take it with breakfast, not with a pastry grenade. The breakfast matters because you are trying to reduce the incoming sugar load while the coffee helps lower friction in the system. Pair it with a high-fiber, low-added sugar meal. Oats. Barley. Eggs with vegetables if that fits your pattern. Unsweetened yogurt with seeds if tolerated. The goal is to avoid flooding the liver with syrup while asking it to heal. Preparation matters. Keep it plain. Keep it unsweetened. If LDL cholesterol is a concern, paper-filtered coffee is the safer engineering choice because the filter traps more of the diterpenes that can raise cholesterol in some people. That small paper barrier matters. It is one more way to lower mechanical stress instead of pretending all coffee is identical. Dr. LaVecchia's research reputation matters here because it keeps this discussion tied to outcomes, not folklore. We are not talking about a trend. We are talking about repeated epidemiologic signals attached to serious pathology. If you do not drink coffee, the protocol does not end. Unsweetened green tea is the closest practical substitute. 2 to 3 cups per day gives you catechin-driven antioxidant support that may overlap with some of the same oxidative stress and inflammatory pathways. Roasted barley tea can also fit as a regional option when paired with a high-fiber breakfast. Not chemically identical. Mechanistically adjacent. The principle stays the same. Lower the metabolic load. Support the filter. Stop feeding the fire. The second support is oats or barley. About 3 grams a day of beta-glucan, often from roughly 60 to 90 grams of oats depending on the product, can blunt the post-meal glucose surge.